I gathered up the 2 kittens in my arms and headed home. No point in leaving them outside tonight for their mother, not with the storm raging on. They seemed fine with that. My mental state was mechanical, but underlined by an incipient background anxiety. I didn't know if they would survive. It was up to me to keep them alive, but I didn't know what to do. I found a cardboard box and placed it by the back door that led to the small courtyard garden. The box was open at the side so they could get in and out. I put a towel inside for their comfort and warmth. I found a source of water. The kittens were still so young that they were unsteady on their feet, staggering around in circles, mewling. But they seemed to understand that I was something, and they made sporadic attempts to climb onto my lap as I kneeled on the floor beside them. To them, I was a looming shadow. They would look up towards my face occasionally, but it was obvious that they had no comprehension of what I was. Their eyes were still that milky blue-grey colour you see in newborn kittens, and had not yet fully developed. I was most likely the first human they'd ever come into contact with. They interacted with me in a state of both trust and fear. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be present. One was larger than the other, and I assumed it was male, the other female. He seemed to be aware of the giant hand that kept caressing it, and would paw at it before staggering off towards the box, which both had immediately realized was a safe place. They retreated into the embrace of its darkness. There was a late-night shop nearby that sold tins of tuna, a delicacy I'd never found in Hangzhou. I ran out in the driving rain to get some, but assumed the kittens would be too young for solid food. And the tiny jar lids I provided as dishes were still massive by comparison, and they trod through the food as if they were dragging their way across a ploughed field. They made a go of it, though. They would forget that the hand was their friend and would cower in terror when it appeared, like the shadow of a zeppelin blocking out the sun. They couldn't move so fast, so they withdrew sheepishly into their box. There was no one I could call, so I did some research online and estimated them to be about 4 weeks old, too young to be adopted, but not critically endangered, though that did little to alleviate the crushing weight of responsibility I was now feeling. I remembered a pet shop somewhere nearby where I'd stop and stare at the pedigree cats through the window on my walks. I could probably get kitten milk there tomorrow. I spent the night in a state of creeping panic, not knowing if they would survive. But at least they were safe, even if they did not know it. But they knew there was something there, some mountain of a being that provided warmth and shelter and food. Resignation is not defeat. Sometimes it's how you can be found. The next day begins in silence, just like any other. I retrieve the kittens from their box and they clamber onto my feet, faintly aware that this vast presence above them makes noises and gives them food. The apartment is simple. A door opens directly from the street into a low-ceilinged living space with double doors that lead to a sunny, shabby garden with a few pieces of decaying furniture and heavy branches snaking over high walls, hemmed in by other buildings. There is a small kitchenette off to one side and a windowless shower room, clammy, on the verge of ill health. It looks like it was built in the 1930s and remodelled in the 1990s. I suspect it was built as a basement, not a flat. Too hot in summer, too cold in winter. But I like it. The tiles and exposed water pipes have a certain faded charm. I don't have much here and I like it that way. A work colleague gave me the basic necessities of life when they moved abroad, everything from dustpans and cutlery to shoe brushes and electric fans. To that I have added an exceptional collection of exquisite Chinese teas. Everyone I have met in my time here, on learning of my passion for tea, has bequeathed me their favourite. I have a shelf full of elaborate tins and beautiful ceramic pots, jars and tiny cups. I set about the process of making some, choosing at random from the array in front of me. Bright morning sunlight dappling onto the distressed wooden countertop, dust webs and dead flies on the windowsill. I feel a momentary pang of sadness. Will this all end soon? How long have I got here? Is this loneliness, melancholy, depression? What is it? The feeling in my heart increases as a searing pain climbs into my chest. I cling to my chest and place one hand on the counter to steady myself. Silence envelops me. The world closes in until all I can hear is the sound of my racing heart pounding in my eardrums. Stop. Deep breaths. It passes. Was that anxiety? Lack of sleep? Or something else? Sometimes the world stops us so we can listen to what's behind the noise. There is always hope. But what happens when we give up? When there is simply no more hope? Then there is no reason to go forward. There is no reason to want anything. What do we do then? Then I remember the box, the kittens. Well, there's a reason, I laugh to myself. I kneel on the floor. The hard stone hurts my knees. This will only ever get harder now, I think. In the darkness, I see 4 tiny eyes glinting fearfully at me, but neither kitten stirs or moves to escape. I suppose that if you're that vulnerable, you just become resigned to it. Is that me now? I say as I pick them out and sit them on my lap. Here, stuck in a foreign city with no job, losing hope by the moment. Should I be like you and just resign myself to whatever may come? Or do I drive forward in desperation to find whatever I can to save me? I'd rather be like the kittens. Just let go. Let it happen. Something will come. But the modern world doesn't train us humans in that way, does it? I think as I put the kitten back and climb to my feet, groaning as I do so. Okay, I sigh. You stay here and I'll go out into the harsh world and make it all happen. Letting go isn't the same as giving up. Some things only come when you stop trying.